नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृण्वतां स्वगतः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः पर्यन्तस्थो भद्राणि विनोति सुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवदुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नश्यति. Today I'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 20, verse 34 to 36. Maitreya Uvacha iti vai iti vainyariyasya rajasya prajnandyartavat vachaha pujito nugrihitvainam gantum chakre chuto matim. Maitreya Uvacha iti vainyariyasya rajasya prajnandyartavat vachaha pujito nugrihitvainam gantum chakre chuto matim. Maitreya Vacha, the great sage Maitreya continued to speak. Iti, thus, Vainyasya of the son of the king Vena, Prithu Maharaj, Rajarse of the saintly king Pratinandya, appreciating Ardhavat Vachaha, the prayers which are filled of meaning, Pujidaha, being worshipped, Anugrahitva, sufficiently benedicting, Enam, King Prithu, Gantum, to go from that place, Chakre, made of Achyutaha, the infallible Lord, Matim, his mind. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The great saint Maitreya told Vidura, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, amply appreciated the meaningful prayers of Maharaj Prithu. Thus, after properly worshipped by the king, the Lord blessed him and decided to depart. Purport. Most important in this verse are the words Prajnanyardavad Vachaha, which indicates that the Lord appreciated the very meaningful prayers of the king. When a devotee prays to the Lord, it is not to ask for material benefits, but to ask the Lord for his favor. He prays that he may be engaged in the service of the Lord's lotus feet, birth after birth. Lord Chaitanya therefore uses the word Mama Janmani Janmani, which means birth after birth, because the devotee is not even interested in stopping the repetition of birth. The Lord and the devotee appear in this material world, birth after birth, but such births are transcendental. In the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord informed Arjuna that both he and Arjuna had undergone many births previously. The Lord remembered everything about them, whereas Arjuna had forgotten. The Lord and his confidential devotees appear many times to fulfill the Lord's mission. But such births are transcendental. They are not accompanied by the miserable conditions of material birth, and they are therefore called divya, transcendental. One must understand the transcendental birth of the Lord and the devotee. The purpose of the Lord's taking birth is to establish devotional service, which is a perfect system of religion. And the purpose of the birth of a devotee is to broadcast the same system of religion or the bhakti cult all over the world. Prithu Maharaja was the incarnation of the power of the Lord to spread the bhakti cult. The Lord blessed him to remain fixed in his position. Thus, when the king refused to accept any material benediction, the Lord appreciated that refusal very much. Another significant word in this verse is Achyuta, which means infallible. Although the Lord appears in his material world, he is never to be considered one of the conditioned souls, which are fallible. When the Lord appears, he remains in his spiritual position, uncontaminated by the modes of material nature, and therefore in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord expresses the quality of his appearance as Atma Maya, performed by internal potency. The Lord, being infallible, is not forced by material nature to take birth in this material world. He appears in order to re-establish the perfect order of religious principles and to vanquish the demonic influence in human society. Devarshi Pitru Gandharva Siddhi Charana Pannagaha Kinnara Praso Martiyaha Kagabhutani Anekasaha Yagneshwara Diya Ragna Vagvitanjali Bhaktitaha Sabajita Yayu Sarve Vaikunta Vaikuntanugatas Tataha Vaikunta is Tataha. Synonyms. Deva, the gods. Rishi, the great sage. Pitra, inhabitants of Pitraloka. Gandharva, inhabitants of Gandharloka. Siddha, inhabitants of Siddhaloka. Charana, inhabitants of Charanoka. Panagaha, inhabitants of planets where serpents live. Kinnara, inhabitants of Kinnara planets. Apsaraha, inhabitants of Apsaraloka. Martya, inhabitants of the earthly planets. Kagaha, birds. Bhutani, other living entities. Anekashaha, many. Yagneshwaradhiya, with the perfect intelligence of thinking as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Ragna by the king, Vak with sweet words, Vitta wealth, Anjali with folded hands, Bhaktadaha in a spirit of devotion service, Sabajdaha being properly worshipped, Yayahu went survey all Vaikunta of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, Anugadaha followers, Tata from that place. King Prithu worshipped the demigods, the great sages, the inhabitants of Pitraloka, the inhabitants of Gandharva and those Siddhaloka, Charnaloka, Panagaloka, Kinnaraloka, Apsaraloka, the earthly planets and the planets of the birds. He also worshipped many other living entities who presented themselves in the sacrificial arena. With folded hands, he worshipped all these, as well as the supreme person of Godhead and the personal associates of the Lord. By offering sweet words, as much wealth as possible, after this function, they all went back to their respective abodes, following the footsteps of Lord Vishnu. Purport. In modern so-called scientific society, the idea is very prevalent that there is no life on other planets, but that only on this Earth do living entities with intelligence and scientific knowledge exist. The Vedic literatures, however, do not accept this foolish theory. The followers of Vedic wisdom are fully aware of various planets inhabited by varieties of living entities, such as the demigods, the sages, the Pithas, the Gandharvas, the Panagas, Kinnaras, Charanas, the Siddhas, and Apsaras. The Vedas give information that in all planets, not only with this material sky, but also in the spiritual sky, there are varieties of living entities. Although all these living entities are one of spiritual nature, in quality the same as Supreme Personality of Godhead, they have varieties of bodies due to the embodiment of the spirit soul by the eight material elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and false ego. In the spiritual world, however, there is no such distinction between the body and the embodied. In the material world, distinctive features are manifested in different types of bodies, the various planets. We have full information from the Vedic literature that in each and every planet, both material and spiritual, there are living entities of varying intelligence. The Earth is one of the planets of the Bhurloka planetary system. There are six planetary systems above Bhurloka and seven planetary systems below it. Therefore, the entire universe is known as Chaturdasha Bhavana, indicating that it has 14 different planetary systems. Beyond the planetary systems is the materials in the material sky. There is another sky, which is known as Paravyoma, or the spiritual sky, where there are spiritual planets. The inhabitants of these planets engage in the varieties of loving service unto the Supreme Person of Godhead, which includes different rasas or relationships known as Dasya Sakirasa, Vasilya Madhura Rasa, and above all, Parakya Rasa. This Parakya Rasa or Paramar love is prevalent in the Krishna Loka, where Lord Krishna lives. This planet is also called Golaka Vrindavana, and although Lord Krishna lives there perpetually, he also expands himself in millions and trillions of forms. In one of such forms, he appears on his material planet in a particular place known as Vrindavana Dama, where he displays his original pastimes of Golaka Vrindavana Dama, the spiritual sky, in order to attract the conditioned souls back to home, back to Godhead. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasa De Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I would like to seek blessing from all decimal Vaishnavas and thank you for giving me an opportunity to purify myself. Please forgive me for any shortcoming or adding my own interpretation. I did obtain his purport of listening to one of the senior devotee from ISKCON. Here we see that King Prithu Maharaj did pray to Lord Vishnu, who came to the sacrificial arena where Prithu Maharaj was performing the Ashwamedha Yaga. Now, we see here King Prithu, who was son of King Vena. He's very quite opposite in nature than his father, King Vena. However, King Prithu used to worship the Lord in the form of a deity he used to worship, and he was wandering around to really see the actual Lord to see in front of him. However, his wish did get fulfilled, and that too in the sacrificial arena when Prithu Maharaj was performing the yaga. Now, what we also see from the above purport is that King Prithu did not just bow down to the Lord, the Supreme Person of Godhead, but he also uh, prayed to all the demigods who did came to the arena. Now, we also hear from our acharyas that we should never pray to demigods and is under the impression that praying to demigods is meant for less intelligent people. It is a purely, I can say, not true. If we look back to Chaitanya Bhagavatam, it says, if you do not pray to demigods, you will not get Krishna Bhakti. So we should stand up and pray to demigods, and we surely will get Krishna Bhakti. And this is promises from all living entities. And let me recite a sloka from the Chaitanya Bhagavata from verse 2.5.146 to 148. श्रद्धा करे मूर्ति पूजे भक्ता न आदरे मूर्खा नीचा पति तेरे दया नाही करे एका अवतारा बजे ना बजे आरा कृष्ण रघुनाथे करे भेद व्यवहार बलराम शिवा प्रति प्रीता नहीं करे भक्तदामा शास्त्रे कहे ये सब जाना रे. Those who faithfully worship the deity form of the Lord but do not respect his devotees, and those who do not show compassion to those who are foolish, wretched and fallen, and those who worship one incarnation of the Lord and not worship other incarnations, and those who discriminate between Krishna and Ramachandra, and those who have no love for Balram and Shiva, are, according to scripture, the lowest of all devotees. A little bit of commentary by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura. Those who faithfully worship the Supreme Lord but do not worship the devotees engage in his service and inseparably related to him. And those who not display mercy by instructing the fallen souls benefit of the Lord's service. And those who not display mercy by giving upon the association of atheists, ours to the Lord are described by the scriptures as low class persons, devoid of devotion. If worshippers of Rama envy devotees of Krishna, or if so-called devotees of Krishna blaspheme worshippers Rama Sita, they should not be counted as devotees, but as low-class persons, like Kanishadikari. Lord Vishnu resides in the innumerable Vaikuntha planets in his various eternal forms. Those who have no faith in the existence of that Vishnu or his devotees are fit to be called Adhama or low class. The worship of those who blaspheme servants of the Lord, like Baladeva, Lakshmi, Garada, Vayu, Rudra, is incomplete. That's why in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.47 it declares that devotees situated in the platform of Kanishadikara are able to fall down into the material existence as follows. Ashayam eva haraye pujam yah श्रद्धायते न तद्भक्तेषु चान्येषु सा prakata smrataha. A devotee who faithfully engages in the worship of a deity in the temple but does not behave properly towards devotees or people in general are called prakrita bhakti or a materialistic devotee, and it considers to be the lowest position. There are two kinds of Vaishnavas, an ordinary and unauthorized. Ordinary or unauthorized and pure or authorized. The Vishnu Swami Sampradaya originated from Rudradeva, the Madhu Sampradaya originated from Brahma, and the Ramanuja Sampradaya originated from Lakshmi Devi, and the Nimbaraka Sampradaya originated from the four Kumaras. If someone respects one and blasphemes another by taking into consideration their mutual disagreements, then he certainly falls from the platform of Kashtanikari. All the demigods and demigoddesses pass their time fulfilling their responsibility of serving the Lord, and their entrusted positions are known to this world. Yet their constitutional position as Vaishnava is not lost. If one out of material conception disrespects the demigods and demigoddess, he cannot have devotion to Vishnu. If one accepts the spiritual masters or demigods and demigoddess to be the devoid of devotion to the Vishnu, then he commits offense. But by worshipping the interested positions of demigods and demigoddess are there. Forgetting the service of Krishna, one cannot achieve any benefit. That is why Thakur Narottama has said, Krishake Govinda Seva, na pujiba deva yeta ananya bhakti kata. I will engage my senses in the service of the Govinda. I will not worship the demigods. This is a description of unalloyed devotion and service. Becoming unalloyed in the service of the Lord does not entail blasphemy of demigods. All demigods and demigoddesses are in the shelter of Supreme Lord. Therefore, simply by serving Supreme Lord, the worship of demigods is automatically performed. If one worships a particularly a demigod or a demigoddess, then other demigoddesses and demigoddesses become displeased. But if one worships the Supreme Lord, then all demigods who are subordinate to the Supreme Lord are automatically worshipped. So blasphemy of a Vaishnava is hundreds of times severe than blasphemy of an ordinary living entity. Therefore, no intelligent person should tread such a path. One interesting fact that speaker narrates about an incident about him that happened to him. We all know we go to a lot of temples and we pray to a lot of deities, like Kali, Saraswati, Lord Shiva, etc. So one day the speaker, who's again a devotee of an ISKCON devotee, went to a temple, started offering obeisance to all demigods, and finally saw Lord Krishna and then offered his obeisances. The priest was the temple priest was watching the whole uh, time what the devotee was doing. And once the devotee prayed, gave his obeisances to Lord Krishna and then he approached. He said, and then started inquiring about the way he's doing. The speaker said that even though he's from ISKCON, he was and the priest that was very happy to see the speaker was able to offer his obeisances. Where there he saw a different devotee who just prayed Lord Krishna and left. The priest, however, did mention that he was only first person that he saw in the temple while he was performing his priest services. And then he was super happy and they were able to share his emotions to the speaker. Now, let's see one more example about Raghunatha Goswami and his devotion to Radharani. In Braj, Sri Krishna is served by Sri Radharani and Chandravali, who each have unlimited maidservants. Even the meadows of paramour love, Sri Raghunatha Das Goswami counted himself as the maidservant with friends of Sri Radharani. And Chandravali is the chief competitor of Radharani. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami would never go to her kunja or talk with any of the Sakis. Thus, he served the servants of Radharani with his mind in this way. One Brajvasi known as Sri Das Brijvasi used to bring him a leaf cup of buttermilk every day. Bringing this milk, only Raghunath Das would engage in bhajan throughout the day. One day, Sri Das Brijvasi went to Chandravali's kunda, known as Shakti to herd his cows. There he saw a palace tree and with very large leaves, so he collected some leaves to make leaf cups. The next day, in one of the new leaf cups, he brought some buttermilk to Das Goswami. Raghunath Das accepted the leaf of buttermilk and inquired, "Where do you get this nice palace tree?" Sri Dasi replied, "When I was fashioning the cows, I came to Shakti and found there." Simply hearing the word Shakti, Raghunath Das flew into a rage and threw the leaf cup of buttermilk away, saying, "The followers of Radharani never accept anything from that place." Seeing the loyal devotion of Sri Ranganath Das for Srimati Radharani, Sridaji was amazed. One important thing that what we can understand from this is we need to understand the actions of the Siddha Mahapurusha and his exclusive devotion that he has to God and his Gurudeva. But we also need to know that as a sadhak, one must respect everyone should be neutral towards everyone else. And coming back to let me complete this with this few lines. Coming back to the current chapter and the current verse that we just recited, it learned from Prithvi Maharaj. We should respect the Supreme Personality of Godhead and demigods as well as entire mankind. Once we accomplish this kind of act, we are truly blessed and our purpose on this planet Earth will be fulfilled. Without these actions, whatever yajna we are doing will not be perfected. Lord is never alone. He is with his associates, the goddess and demigoddess. And what we call here as performing opulences to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, demigods and demigoddess. Thank you for giving me an opportunity, and please pardon if I